There we go. Yeah, so Oriel, I think she went for surgery on Monday and Tuesday. Monday, she was in. Yeah, I know she was going in. So I hope she's well. Oriel, we love you. I hope you're okay. Kiasha, we miss you. Um, let's get into the session for this evening and the content. It is one of my favorite classes. And anyway, here we go. Um, so last week we kind of looked a little bit at mindfulness being the magnifying glass, but magnifying glasses are useless unless you focus it on something. It's pretty much the same as mindfulness. Okay, my Asian classics teacher in mindfulness says when you do breath meditation, it's not really a meditation. It's just kind of warming up for the race. Which is interesting because some people just do breath meditation for their entire life and they don't do anything else. But from an Asian point of view, they say, that's just warming up for the real race. And the real race is using your magnifying glass, your ability to stay present, your ability to quickly come back to what it is you're focusing on. And at the moment, we're focusing on the heart. Okay, the heart. There it is. There's the heart. And that is kindness. Kindness for oneself and kindness for others. Okay? We explored the EQ definition last week. Self-awareness, self-management, other awareness, other management. So we've been really being aware of ourselves, the dialogue we've been saying to ourselves, and how do we manage that? Do we feel shameful? Do we beat ourselves up when we realize a lot more about ourselves? We can manage that better and be kinder to ourselves. That definitely has an effect on the way that we deal with others. Okay? Got to put the oxygen mask on your face first before anything else, before anybody else. And the nice meditation, remember the voice of Mr. T, crazy fool, every time your mind wanders. So this poor chap looks like he's had a bad night. Alcohol, never really a good thing for anybody. What do they say? No good story ever started with "I had a salad." I don't know. Maybe it did. I'm not sure. But nobody wants to feel like this the next morning. But yet, people do. They drink, and then we wake up in the morning and feel like death. Is it worth it? Never. Because the rest of the day is such a write-off. It's never worth it. I've been to AA. It was good. I learned a lot. It helped. Um, and the one thing that I admire about Alcoholics Anonymous is the fact that when you go in there and you seriously commit yourself, you get assigned a sponsor or a mentor. I don't know, has anybody been to the AA or is it just me? Am I the only like alcoholic? No? Everybody?
In all
No,
honesty, I didn't know they
AA.
had. Yeah, yeah. I didn't know they had AA in South Africa.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I've been to one meeting, Mark, as an observer.
Okay.
Yeah, they do get sponsors. My brother-in-law is a recovering addict for about 13 years now. They're an amazing community of people, and they're all over in the country.
Yeah.
So yeah, even from the smallest of towns, even in the colored areas, I was very surprised. But yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere. No, no. I mean, lately, someone was trying to get me to go like regularly, but then I realized she runs the meetings and she had eyes on me, and I was like, no, no, this is the wrong motivation. This is not a pickup joint, you know. I'm gonna go. I've been and it's good, and I feel like I don't need to go again. If I do, I will. Uh, so that was interesting.
Yeah. So, Mark, they actually say you're not supposed to date one another if you're in the support group. So I
Yes.
find it a bit funny. But actually, I had an appointment with my psychiatrist this week. And although for me it's not defined as alcoholism, but it is a maladaptive coping mechanism for me. So this is my bit of honesty moment, yeah.
Yeah.
And she was saying to me, it would be really good for me to go just from an accountability factor, when I do feel those dips, and that's what I turn to, that I know that I've got that accountability there. So not strictly addict, but still it's the steps and the principle that counts. Just wanted to share. So they welcome you from that sense as well.
Yes. No, for sure. It's a great organization and helped so many people. I know Carrie on the forest also has addiction issues, and she speaks openly about it. Carrie likes to say that she's a recovered addict, recovered alcoholic, or a recovering alcoholic. I think that's really good to say something like that rather than I'm an alcoholic. I think that's my only issue, that you can be 10 years sober but still say you're an alcoholic. I think it's better to say you're a recovering or recovered alcoholic. But that's just my personal view. The interesting thing about the sponsor, now this is where it counts, is that if you take charge of somebody else's healing, even though you messed up, even though you fucked up, that contributes to your healing. Okay, the sponsor needs the noob. Okay, the sponsor needs the noob for the sponsor to close the chapter, to completely heal. Well, do we ever completely heal? That's the thing. But anyway, that's the symbiotic relationship between the sponsor and the noob, and it's a beautiful flow. It's a beautiful process. I mean, I'll let you know, like, if I didn't have teacher training on a Monday night, if I didn't have teacher training on a Thursday night, if I didn't have my Asian classics classes on a Tuesday night, if I didn't spend Wednesday night watching movie night with my son, I would probably be drinking. So it keeps me out of trouble. I think I'd like to say, yes, I'm trying to be nice and kind and invite you to teacher training, but at the end of the day, I think I'm just doing it to keep myself on track. I've got a class on Saturday morning. I teach. I can't be hungover, so I set up these interesting time slots to make sure that I don't become a complete drunk, to be honest. And it helps me. So helping you, helping me, okay? So as you facilitate mindfulness and you help others, you're actually also helping yourself. The more that you help others, you are helping yourself. In fact, the Dalai Lama said what did it say? The highest form of selfishness is to serve others, because you'll get exactly what you need and what you want. Isn't that interesting? Thank you, Antoinette. Yeah. Anyway, it hasn't been an easy year and a half, but I'm getting there. And with your help and with the community and these classes, I also learn and grow as I teach. And that is that interpersonal awareness and interpersonal management. And that's how I feed my connection and feel connected to all of you, because I'm not interested in meaningless talk. I'm not interested in small talk. I couldn't give a shit about that. I want to talk deep stuff. I want to talk interesting stuff. And when I check in with you guys, that's exactly what I get from you. So I'm selfish. I get exactly what I want. I love this story. My teacher, my American teacher, Michael Roach, he says in the 1980s they were on a flight, and Kerry, I don't know if you know this story. It's a good one. Let me know if you've heard it before. I tend to repeat myself. It's a sign of old age.
Will do.
So he was on a flight in the 80s, and you know, when people get on a plane, they're like elbowing, you know, fighting for the armrest, complaining about the food, you know, and the plane takes off. And then while they're flying, like it's very misty and rainy, and they got to land, but the pilot is nervous, like the air hostess is crying and and you know things are not good when the air steward or the air hostess is in tears, right? Then you think, "Woi, kak, what no?" Anyway, the pilot, the captain, gets on the microphone and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. We don't know if the wheels are working. It seems to us that the wheels are not working. We can't get the wheels down." Now, what happens is if you can't get the wheels down, you're going to crash. You're going to hit something. You're going to hit that tarmac hard, and the plane might blow up. That might be the end of it. So what they did is they tried to fly low so the air tower in that airport could see, but they couldn't see because there was fog and mist. They couldn't tell if the wheels were down. Bad luck. So what they did is they kept on flying and circling for an hour to try and dump as much fuel as possible. You don't want to crash land an airplane with fuel. Okay, that's going to catch a light. So as the fuel was running out, the pilot would then slowly descend. But in that hour of circling, oh wow, I'm seeing the moon. It's half full, beautiful. In that hour of circling, people were hysterical, they were crying, sobbing, asking questions. But then he said that people started hugging each other, loving each other, talking about each other's families. He said this feeling of like just love, this beautiful love overcame everyone. You're faced with your own mortality, and there was a feeling of just love, you know. And then the plane went down, and they could see the ambulance lights flashing, and the whole runway was covered in foam, and they hit the ground, but the wheels were down. Actually, they just didn't know. They had no way of telling. So they landed, and people were cheering, "Yay, we survived!" And then they were elbowing each other to get off the plane. But he said, you know, in that moment of knowing that the end is possible, that there's just love. And I think that's humans forget, right? It will end sometime. We don't think about it as much. I think if we did, we would love each other more. But we fight over such silly things. We really do. And this is where I believe that our true nature as human beings, and please, this is only my opinion, so you don't have to buy into it, please don't. But I really think that essentially human beings are good. They're good at heart. The Dalai Lama says that's why when you read the newspaper is full of bad stories, not because we like bad stories, just because we get a shock. It's like, wow, you know, it's almost like an addiction. Like, this is terrible. This goes against my nature. That's why people read it. It's like you drive past a car accident and everybody slows down to have a look. It's not because you're going, "Oh, I hope someone got hurt." No, you know, we don't think that. We think, "I hope everyone's okay," right? I guess there are psychopaths in this world and people that enjoy seeing other people hurt, but not few and far between. Few and far between. I think essentially we all just want to be happy, and we're so confused. I think we're just really confused, right? Um, you know, the Titanic, they just, unfortunately, the captain thought that the iceberg wasn't that bad, so just go straight through. But it did. It took out that ship. And that's the thing. We never know what's under the surface. We don't know what's under the water. If you think about yourself, do you know everything that's under the surface? Do we know everything that's under the surface with others? But yet we judge others, and we judge them upon their appearance and what is appearing to us. But there's so much more to them under the surface, you know, that we can't see. I think Oprah had a thing on Apple, the you that you can't see, or something like that. It was something about mental health. The we that you can't see, you know, like something like that. It was really a nice title, because with our mental health, it's something that other people just don't get to see. But we're all fighting some inner battle. Okay, we're all fighting some inner battle, except for me. I'm fighting an inner battle, but everybody knows about it because I tell everybody. Anyway, so here's a little exercise. You might have done it before. I'm going to require that you either pop it in the chat or you unmute your mic. What do you see here? Is there something you see? You can't get this wrong, so don't worry. You can't fail at this exercise. Okay, what is this something that you see here? And you can't get this wrong, guys. There's no right or wrong answer. What do you guys see? Any other comments? Don't overthink it. Just what is your mind seeing? Okay. Any more? Okay. Okay. Antoinette?
Yes.
You are right. I think you've seen it before. There's the cow. Ooh, now I see it. So that's interesting. So Kerry Braun saw a cow. Antoinette's seen it before. Danielle saw chickens. Let's have a look. Where are the chickens? I can't see the chicken. Maybe there? Chicken? I don't know. Varuna saw fingerprints or a handprint. Okay. Danielle, Varuna, you're not wrong. What you saw was your valid perception. Okay, it's your valid perception. It's very ambiguous.
Mark, it's a cow.
It's not a cow.
Oh my gosh, now I can't not see the cow.
Yeah. Now you cannot not see the cow, but before you didn't see it. Before it could be anything. Some people say they see a bra here, and here there's like a chicken, and here's ribs. I mean, I get it all. I get footprints in the snow. I mean, I've done this exercise with like 200 people on a call. It's hilarious. So, you know, we can clearly see that we have different perception, that we don't see things the same. Some people see a cow, some people see a chicken, some people see fingerprints, whatever, right? And the problem is we get upset because why didn't Varuna see the cow? What's wrong with Varuna, you know? Nothing wrong, just different perception, different way of seeing things. And this is the thing. Everybody has a different mind. Everybody has a different perception of what we see in this world. The problem comes in is that when we start to try to convince other people that this is the right thing. It is a cow, you know, you got to see the cow. Don't believe it. It doesn't necessarily have to be the cow. And in the same way, some people say, oh, that person is a very bad person, so they draw lines around a person and they say, they gossip, they slander, they say that's a bad person, and then you believe it. You'll never see that person in the same way again because they said that that person is a bad person. You see, that's where prejudice comes in, racism, sexism, whatever, is when we listen to other people's stories and it influences our perception of each other. Then that's not good EQ, right? Then that doesn't feed well into that awareness of somebody else if we're listening to gossip, slander, etc. Right? So we approach others with non-judgment and curiosity. What is under the iceberg? What is under the water? Maybe they look bad on top, but they could be really nice underneath. I just don't know. And can I give them the benefit of the doubt? But before anybody draws a line around them, okay? Can I give them the benefit of the doubt? There's a psychological term called cognitive fusion. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, where we solidify our world. We say, oh, that person is ridiculous. That person is lazy. That person is stupid. That person is clever. That person is amazing, right? So even if it's a compliment or if it's degrading, we start to see people in a certain way, and then we draw lines around that person, and that is cognitive fusion. But we can't say that. So say a person is behaving badly, we can't say that they are a bad person. What we can say is that that person is behaving badly. I see them behaving in a certain way. That's even also a bit of a gray area, because are they behaving badly, or maybe they're behaving in a skillful way? We're just seeing it according to our projections. And that is the crux of cognitive fusion. If they are hurting somebody else, if they're attacking somebody else, hurting somebody else, obviously that's negative behavior. But a lot of the time, this judgment and this cognitive fusion is illusory and is a mistake. We do it to ourselves as well. And it's what we call fixed mindset. Carol Dweck went into it in a big way. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I'm like this. I'm a jealous person. I'm an angry person. I am a meat eater. I am a vegan. We do this. We create these labels and these very fixed mindsets. But that's all it is. It's just a label. Danielle, makes starting relationships scary. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So much risk not knowing what's inside under the surface. Friends, romantic partners, all areas of life has been my experience. Exactly. I thought recently it would be easy with a friend that I knew for 20 years, but it wasn't. I thought that would be easier. It wasn't. It really wasn't. We really don't know other people. It is scary to start a relationship. It's scary to be in a long-term relationship and realize that the other person doesn't know you at all, and that you're both practicing cognitive fusion and you're both projecting onto each other. And it's what we do. So with mindfulness, we can recognize this cognitive fusion. We can say, look at that. My mind is creating solid things out of nothing. Okay? So this is not a COVID warrior. This is a cowboy. And if we understand neuroplasticity and neuroscience, we can get to the understanding that love can dominate our brain instead of anger and hatred. It's like a shootout, in the cowboy movies. The bad guy, the sheriff, and they stand outside the saloon in the dusty road, and the bad guy says, this town ain't big enough for the both of us. And then bang, and they shoot, and one of them dies. You see, two big egos, two big titles, only one can live. And it's the same with hatred and love. If we practice loving kindness, if we imbue our minds with the fragrance of loving kindness, then anger and hatred will have no place in that system, or will become increasingly difficult to find its footing in that sort of mind state. Okay? Do you agree with that, or do you think that hatred and love can exist in your awareness at the same time? Any thoughts on that?
Mark, I
Yeah.
have I don't know if it's a thought, it's actually a question, and I've heard the same sentiment not so long ago,
Okay.
from I don't know if he was a priest, or I don't know what you call him, but the church guy. And I think that love and not maybe hatred, I don't think I've ever experienced hatred, but I think love and anger can coexist. And I've personally felt that recently. I think I shared with you guys that I lost a loved one recently, and
Yeah.
this priest, pastor guy, whatever, in his sermon was saying that we need to forgive. We need to forgive the people that took Dean's life. We need to forgive the elements in our country. We need to forgive, and I just, I'm angry at them. I don't know them. I don't hate them. But I'm sorry. I think I'm going to be angry for a long time. And I don't think that that means that I'm less of a person. It's just, no one has been able to tell me how to not feel that, or show compassion or empathy or understanding towards people that do such senseless things. I don't know. Sorry, I should have said trigger warning.
Yeah. Yeah. It's honest and it's real and it's naked and it's true. I don't know. This might make sense or it might not make sense, Bronwyn, and it's a very hard thing to deal with, and it's still very fresh for you. I had two things that I found challenging. One was a hold up where I was tied up and my wife was tied up, and they went through our house and stole everything. And then I didn't sleep very well for a year after that. But I worked every day trying to understand why these guys behave the way they do, and trying to find compassion for who they are and what they do. Only when I reached a certain place did the trauma in many ways leave me. And it was through loving kindness. Then I had a business partner that stole R1 million from me, personal. He took over a period of time. And I found out he was lying and cheating. And I threw him up against a wall, and I had my hand around his throat, and I was going to kill him. And I stopped. I'd be in jail today, obviously, if I had killed him. But I was so ready to do it. An elderly guy as well. And then I had such intense rage for a long time. But then the only way that I could get over it was to try and understand what's under the iceberg. Why did he do what he does? And it wasn't because I need to be nice to him, or I needed to forgive him, or I needed to think nice thoughts and forgive the burglars. No, I mean, I really don't care if they live or die. And I really don't care if someone shoots them in the process. And I really don't care if my ex-partner has a heart attack and falls over, or falls and trips down the stairs. But for my own peace of mind, I had to practice loving kindness, because I wanted to get rid of them. I wanted them gone. I wanted them out of my headspace. I didn't want to think about them anymore. And the only way I could get rid of them is to send them kindness and love and forgiveness. Not for them, for me, to get rid of them. I don't know if that makes sense. Danielle, you got something to add?
Yeah, Mark, I have a similar sentiment to Bronwyn.
Yeah.
And you were saying about your ex-partner. And for me, it was a year spending my time and my life with this person. And after you've been divorced, it's quite a big adjustment to bring somebody back into your life, family, son, all of that. And then up until 6 weeks ago, the person was still very much a part of my life. We're not together, but a part of my life. And then something happened, like a really bad incident happened. And last night, when I was doing all that journaling, or in the early hours of the morning, I actually sent him a message. And that was what I was trying to achieve for myself, to let them go. But I wished him well, because I don't know if that's the loving kindness you talk
It
about, but
is. It is.
I'm trying to make sense of it, because I still struggle, even with past relationships. I struggle to see the bad in people. I choose to look at the goodness in people and want to believe that there's hope for people. And we all have our bad sides, all of us. And that's why I say I know, because I initiated my divorce. I was the one that stepped away because I reached a level of self-awareness. But this loving kindness thing, it's still sitting. It doesn't sit so well with me, because I know what this guy's behavior is. I know the patterns, and I still struggle because I'm focusing on the good things. So I don't know if it's possible. I did say I wish you well, but in fact, I do actually wish that there's harm. Not harm as in harm, that he also experiences difficulty and heartache, and that his heart cracks
Karma.
and all
Karma.
those things, because that's what happened to me. It's like, why can you move on and you start afresh, and I'm sitting, like they say in Afrikaans, met die gebakte pere, and that's not cool. So yeah, so I also struggle with that concept, and I was brought up and I am a Christian, with that you have to forgive and forgive,
Turn the other
and
cheek.
hey.
Turn the other cheek. It's something
Well, no,
that's
I don't turn the other cheek. I'm in fight mode like that. I don't turn the other cheek, but I do freeze. So when Antoinette was talking about this, I go into fight mode, and then I go into flight mode, and then I'm now in the freeze mode. So it frustrates me, and I don't know if I can comprehend, like, if that sits well with me, the loving kindness thing. It's just not easy to accept. And I mean, it must be so much worse when a life has been taken.
oh
I just find it annoying that there's living people that's doing this stuff, walking around, and I can just slap you. But yeah, it's a difficult one for me, and mindfulness has been something I'm practicing regarding that as well. Yeah, just wanted to share my thoughts.
thanks, Danielle. It is a difficult one, a very sensitive issue. Um, I often think about the kids in America that walk into a school with a assault rifle and just start shooting. Are these kids evil, or is there a mental health problem in the States? If I call that child evil, then that's an example of cognitive fusion. I'm painting lines around that kid. The deed is evil, the act is evil, but the child needs help, right? And in a lot of the instances, it's too late. It's a very tragic situation that's happening in the States with those shootings. So, some people could say the devil has possessed that kid, and some people could say, well, it's just we should do more to help people with mental health problems and see the warning signs before it gets worse and help them and have the right things in place. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. I'm not sure. It's a sensitive issue. Why do people I've done a lot of research on why do men hurt women in gender-based violence. And all I can keep coming up is that those men feel demasculated. They are disempowered. They are unemployed. They have no authority. And the only authority and sense of power they get is when they hurt women. And they are in a very, they say it's the hurt that hurts. So yeah. Bronwyn, I think it's still early days, and it's time will take its toll, and one day maybe we understand, maybe we don't. But I can't say I feel your pain. I can't say that, but I empathize and I sympathize. This is a wonderful spiritual teacher. His name is Ram Dass. When he was younger, he was a professor at Harvard in the 1960s, and his name was Richard Alpert. And he got expelled. He got kicked out of Harvard because he was experimenting with LSD, and he was giving it to his students as well, and they were having like parties. So I think it was like a very new thing in those days to take acid, to take LSD. And he went to India and he gave up his drugs, and he found a guru, and he actually became very famous when he returned back to the States. Especially, it was the height of the hippie movement, and he became the hippie guru, and he's actually very wise. He died recently, but he's very wise. And I love this. I invite you, when you are caught in your stuff and your heart is closed, to reach out to find someone else who is suffering, to be there with them for a moment. And what I find when my heart is closed is that the purity of their heart pulls me out of myself very quickly. For those of you who have gotten caught in individualism and separation, the act of serving another human being is a doorway back into your connection to the universe. Their real need pulls you out of yourself. Sometimes when we experience depression, we are very inwardly spiraled about our own problems and things that are going wrong. If we look at somebody else's life, maybe they're worse off, maybe they need our help, then our problems might not be so big. I keep on coming up against these articles about getting yourself a dog or a cat when you're feeling depressed, and that'll help you with your depression, because you're not thinking too much about the bad things. You're thinking about that creature and what it needs. I don't know. It sounds believable. It sounds good. I'm actually looking for a cat. So if anybody has a kitten, I'd love to take one on. This is a fascinating bit of research. This guy here is Mathieu Ricard, and he is a monk. This is Richard Davidson. He's a neuroscientist, and Richard Davidson was trying to figure out, where is happiness? Where does happiness live in the brain? So they did tests on over 1,000 people, and they found that happiness is concentrated in the left hemisphere prefrontal cortex. There's gamma. Okay, so Richard Davidson was tracking gamma, which is electricity, electric energy in the brain, and found that when people are happy, it's in the left hemisphere of the prefrontal cortex, the gamma. Then the Dalai Lama heard about what Richard Davidson was doing and asked if Mathieu Ricard, who's a Frenchman, could join the experiment. And he did. And they put him through the machines, the MRIs, the EEG, and they found that Mathieu Ricard's concentration of gamma was off the charts. There was such a massive concentration in this part of the brain, more so than anybody else that they've seen. So much so that they call Mathieu Ricard the happiest man in the world. Okay? Yeah. Thanks, Danielle, for your comments. Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. Mathieu Ricard is called the happiest man in the world. And I think that's going to be part of the homework, is to Google happiest man in the world, right? And read that article about this French monk. And they asked him, what are you meditating on? Why are you so happy? Why have you got so much gamma concentrated in the left hemisphere of your brain? And he just said, I'm thinking about making other people happy. I'm thinking about, if I could, I would make everybody happy. Isn't that cool? And this experiment showed that thinking of others' happiness as well as your own grows happiness. So sometimes, like the other night, I was feeling really down. I was feeling really anxious. And then I just started thinking of people in my life that are going through difficult times. And I imagined that their problems were over, that I could help them. And I started to feel immediately so much better. And I wasn't focusing too much on my own blah, blah, my own story. This is interesting because a lot of people ask me, so, you know, you talk of self-compassion and you talk of compassion for others, but how do we find that balance? And as you can see here, the EQ model is such. There's the self area and there's the other area. How do we find a balance between what we need and what other people need? And I'd like to think of it as two wings of a bird. The left wing is yourself and the right wing is other people. So if we're focusing too much on ourselves and not enough on other people, we're not going to fly. We're not going to take off, right? We're not going to be happier. If we're focusing too much on other people and not so much on ourselves, that's also not great, right? That's not wise, not good, not going to fly. Those wings need to be balanced, right? Between what we need, what we want, and what other people need and what other people want. So I don't know, maybe you can look at that and decide, well, where are you? Are you on the giving everybody a part of yourself, but not so much caring for you? Or are you caring for you so much that other people don't get anything from you? I don't know. There's many people that I know that are really either one or the other, and very seldom is it properly balanced, right? Yeah. The power of love. The power of love. There's two little stories that I wanted to share with you. One is the 94.7. Has anybody ever done the 94.7 or the Argus race bicycles? It's fun. It's not so serious. It's actually quite nice. And I remember the DJ saying, who are you doing the race for? And I remember thinking, oh, that's an interesting question. I'm doing the race for myself. But then I decided to do the race for my grandmother. And I was like, I'm going to race. I'm going to do this for my grand. And I found that I had more energy. I had more stamina. The burn in my legs was for Gran. Like, this is for Gran, this is for Gran. If it was for me, I would have gone slower or I would have given up. But when I thought of that, my Gran, it was almost like this prayer, you know, that I could race for her. Kerry says, I remember the Dalai Lama saying something like selfishness and selflessness are two sides of the same coin. We need to be selfish enough to ensure that we can be the best version of ourselves possible so that we can give others, offer others the best we have to give. I love that, yeah. Went from hard right to hard left, now finding my balance, says Danielle. Nice. I guess riding a bike is also like that, finding your balance. You know, you're always falling over and then you correct yourself either this way or that way. Another one is I was an attendant to a monk that came from Tibet. We went to Magaliesberg. He was running a retreat there. And the place was infested with mosquitoes. I went to bed. I sprayed myself with Peaceful Sleep or Tabard, I can't remember. And the mozzies were everywhere. It was the middle of summer. But I forgot to give it to the monk. And in the morning when I woke up, I was horrified. I ran over to his bungalow, knocked on the door. He opened. I said, oh, I'm so sorry, Geshe-la. Are you okay, mosquito? He goes, oh, mosquito, they're coming all the time, everywhere. Zzz, they're coming, they're biting. I'm like, oh no, I've neglected this. I'm such a terrible attendant. He said, but it's okay. Then I open my robes and I say, okay, guys, you can eat. And then I go to sleep, no problem. So a lot of the time, if there's a mosquito in your bedroom, it's going to cause irritation, upset, if not anger. Can you imagine if you just had the attitude of like, oh, well, you can just eat, I don't care. You'll just sleep okay. You'll be fine. But it's that irritation that keeps us up, that subtle anger, you know. Anyway, I thought that was cool. We're going now into a meditation. And this was the meditation pretty much that the monk was doing that made him so happy. And this is incredible research, because if we develop compassion in our minds, to think that that has a link towards our own happiness is very liberating. We're always trying to find the formula for happiness. Can we be always happy? I don't know. I'm not convinced. But if I can be 5% happier or 10% happier, I'll take it. And there's no tablet that's going to give it to me. It's got to come from our own mind. And it's got to come from what we focus on and our thoughts. So we, in a mindful way, we can start to engineer a better approach. Let's get into this practice now. And it's going to make up our homework practice too. All right. Just choosing that comfortable seat. Let's take in a nice deep breath in through the nose. And exhaling it out the nostrils with control. Nice. Last deep breath, another deep breath in. And slowly exhaling out the nose. Last big breath in. Opening the mouth, gently sigh the breath out. Coming now to a normal, natural breath. So tonight we're moving into visualization. It is a form of mindfulness to imagine, to pretend, to visualize, to create fantasy. As long as we're focusing on it, it's our particular way in the present moment, on purpose, and the present, yeah. On purpose, right? Yes. So as we breathe, with every breath you take, we can imagine that the air in your room is charged with great qualities, like a color, like rainbow colors. What would you like to breathe into yourself right now? I'd like to breathe in a little bit of resilience. I'm going to imagine that's a blue color and I'm going to breathe it in. And it's coming into my body. Yeah. Joe Dispenza says that the body doesn't know the difference between reality and visualization. So that's pretty good. I need it. My body needs a bit of resilience. I'm just going to make it a blue color and breathe it in. What do you need today? Some love? Maybe that's a red color. Breathe it in. Maybe you need some courage. What color would you give that? Maybe some healing. What color would you give that? And just imagine that you're breathing in rainbow lights of what it is that you need. Fill up your cup. Let it swirl around inside of your body and in your mind, going through your DNA and every cell. These rainbow lights. This could be a healing exercise, a beautiful healing exercise, in fact. Filling up your cup with every inhalation. I'm getting exactly what I want with every breath. Filling up your cup, creating that masterpiece of color inside of you. And now we're going to think of somebody in our life that we love so much. We imagine them where they are, what they're going through, a little moment of empathy. Where are they? What are they going through? Choosing that one person, whether they're alive or not, whether they're a human or a pet. And now imagine that as you breathe out, you are sending rainbow lights to them. Maybe not the qualities that we took in, but whatever it is that they need, they can breathe in. That light shoots through the universe, shoots across the planet, time and space, whatever, it doesn't matter. And they breathe in whatever it is that they need today. And it's coming from you. Isn't that nice? Like you're a channel, a light's channel. Now I'm getting very new age. Focusing on your out breath and sending out those lights to them. Using the power of visualization to keep yourself focused and present. See them happy. They are breathing in healing and love and courage and whatever it is that they need. Clarity, peace, happiness, joy, whatever it is they need, they breathe in and they are feeling amazing. And they don't know how or why, but they are. But you're not depleting yourself. You're balancing the wings of the bird and you're coming back to yourself. You're feeding yourself once again with what it is you need. Breathe it in again right now. Spend a bit of time filling up yourself. Okay, once again, breathing it out to them, sharing with them, balancing between yourself and other, making sure that they get what they need. And wouldn't it be nice if we could give it to them? Maybe we can't, maybe we never will, but wouldn't it be nice? And this is how we grow happiness in our brain, according to Dr. Richard Davidson's research. Just imagining that they could be free of their problems, which is compassion, and giving them exactly what they want, and that's love. Love, wishing them to be happy. Compassion, wishing to take away their problem. This is a practice. Okay, let's dissolve that visualization now. And your friend is so happy. They've received exactly what they need. You filled up your cup too. Let's take in a deep breath in through the nose and release. Okay. That is a version of a very ancient practice called Metta Bhavana. Comes from India. Metta means loving kindness, and Bhavana means meditation. And it's very, very old, like 1,000-something years old. Okay, it's still very prevalent today and is taught as mainstream mindfulness. So, home is where the heart is. I like that. Yeah. Our home practice is going to be continuing washing your hands, self-love, but think about, washing your hands to work for others perhaps as well, for yourself and for others. Okay? Why not? We're going to journal, but instead of care for ourselves and gratitude for ourselves, we're going to be, how did I care for somebody else today? And am I grateful for people in my life and the things that they do and what they mean to me? That's a good reflection, right? You might start loving people a little bit more than you do. Okay, gratitude for others. And how can we care for others? So what we're going to do under the how can we care for others is every day we're going to give away one item of something. Now, it might be chocolate. It might be fruit. It might be I don't know, like, I wouldn't go give flowers away, but you got to choose someone who isn't like your bestie or a family member. You got to choose someone that is, I don't know, like a stranger or that you mildly know, and give them something. And then day number 2, day number 3, choose somebody else, choose someone different, and find something interesting to give away. I wouldn't do money, but maybe sweets, chocolates, fruit, apples at the traffic light, or that's always nice. Like, it's what we call random act of kindness. And then next week we're going to check in. What really stood out for you in that random act of kindness? Okay. And I think essentially, how did it make you feel? Did you feel happy? Did it make you feel grumpy? How did it make you feel giving something to somebody else? And I think I just want to reflect on that feeling. I mean, we know the scientific research from Richard Davidson, but can we bottle that feeling? Can we nail down that feeling of when we've given that thing away to that person and they're a stranger? What was the feeling? Okay. And I'll remind you on the WhatsApp group as well to do this. And then next week we can check in around our stories, right? So carry on with the soap, washing your hands for others and their benefit too. the journal practice, and the random acts of kindness, and of course the meditation. Antoinette?
Mark, I just wanted to quickly share something that
Yeah.
like really came through very strongly for me, and it just feels like I want to say it. And it's for everybody who was talking about, tonight about Bronwyn, for you, maybe for you, Danielle, but mainly for myself, it came through and was really strong that no baby is born evil. Babies are all born very, very pure. And it's our surroundings that influence us to become, I don't want to say that we become evil, but we become it. And it's the programming once again, but it is our surroundings and how we grow up that creates us as humans. And that is how this earth is put together, with love and with hatred. And there's none of us on this group that hasn't done ugly things to any other humans around us. We've all lied, still cheated in small ways. And I think, what came through for me so strongly is that if it's maybe hard to look at the person in their adult body, is maybe just to reduce it back to when that person was just born as a pure baby, before the world got hold of them and created us to be these, monsters or angels or whatever, however lucky we were to have grown up in our circumstances or not. And maybe to just work with the baby instead of the adult.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes sense.
Does. Yeah, it's a very cool way to think of it like that. I remember
and with ourselves. We're also pure babies. Yeah, sorry, Mark.
I'll never forget the Dalai Lama was on MasterChef, and they were bringing out all these dishes, and they asked him which is the best dish, and he was like, "Oh no, I can't decide. They're all very nice." So he's got this real equanimity, even the ugly dishes. He's like, "No, they're very nice." And the nice dishes, "No, very nice. I'm not deciding. I can't decide. Everything is nice, And I'll never forget, like, he was the most useless judge on MasterChef. Because he wouldn't say which one he prefers and which one was bad. He just, I don't know, this sort of this equanimous attitude. It's like seeing everybody as a baby. That's, I guess, an equanimity exercise. It's beautiful. Yeah. Thanks, Bronwyn, for your comments in the chat. That's stunning. Yeah. Okay, guys, so the teacher training aspect of this program is coming up shortly. I will be sending emails out tomorrow morning to see who wants to go first. I'll be explaining the process, and then I'll be putting dates down. And then you've got to decide which date you want to do your teach back. Okay, I can't remember who's still staying on for that, but if you are not staying on, that's fine. But that's the best part of the training, is to hear Bronwyn's teach back, Kerry's teach back, Varuna's teach back, Danielle's teach back, Antoinette's teach back, Stefan's teach back. That's so much fun. And then we comment on it and we build on that and give advice and feedback, and it's really cool. And that's just 3 weeks away. We got next week, one more class, and then 3 weeks time, the teacher training starts. It's crazy. Like we're in week 6, just like that. Week 6. It's bizarre. Amazing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen, thank you for attending tonight, and we will see you next week. Good luck with the home practices. Take care. May you have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye now. Bye-bye.